The morning sunlight poured through the massive glass windows of Crestfall headquarters, a skyscraper that sliced through downtown Chicago's skyline. The floors shimmered with mirrored marble. The walls carried the scent of expensive cologne and ambition. Samuel Porter, a 55-year-old black janitor, moved quietly along the corridor, pushing his squeaky cleaning cart. His uniform was faded but neatly pressed, and his hands, cracked and strong, wiped down fingerprints no one else noticed. He wasn't invisible because he didn't exist. He was invisible because no one ever looked. "Morning, Sam," called Cindy, the receptionist, scrolling through her phone. "Morning, Miss Cindy," Sam replied softly, smiling with that tired politeness that hides years of struggle. Inside, the employees hustled with coffee cups and Bluetooth earpieces, the language of power echoing off glass walls. Sam stopped at the children's therapy room, a place he rarely entered. It was a part of the Crestfall Foundation, a charity floor run by the company's CEO to support children with developmental challenges. Through the half-open door, he heard crying, a small, piercing cry that cut through his chest. Inside, a little girl sat on the floor near a shelf of toys. She was about 7 years old, her curly brown hair tangled, her small hands clutched around her knees. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she rocked gently, whispering to herself. A speech therapist knelt nearby, helpless. "Clara, sweetheart, it's okay," the therapist said softly. "We're just practicing our words, okay?" But Clara wouldn't look up. She covered her ears, trembling. Samuel froze in the doorway. He had seen that look before. His own son used to shut down like that, years ago, before the seizures took him. That memory never left. I'm sorry, she's overstimulated," the therapist said, glancing at him awkwardly. "We'll get her calm soon." Sam didn't move. Then, almost without thinking, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small bottle of soap bubbles. He carried it everywhere. It reminded him of his boy. "Mind if I try?" he asked gently. The therapist hesitated, unsure how to respond. But something in Sam's eyes said, "Trust me." Samuel knelt down slowly, his knees creaking. He opened the small bottle, dipped the wand, and blew softly. A perfect, shimmering bubble floated through the sunlight, reflecting the whole world in rainbow light. Then another, and another. Clara's rocking slowed. Her eyes widened. She followed the bubbles, eyes tracking, lips parting slightly. One bubble landed on her hand and popped. Sam smiled. "There it goes," he whispered. "Let's try to catch another one, huh?" Clara giggled through her tears. The sound was like the first breeze after a storm. Within minutes, her breathing calmed. She reached out toward him, tiny fingers pointing at the bubbles that filled the air like magic. The therapist's jaw dropped. She'd been working with Clara for months, and she'd never seen her open up that fast. Sam chuckled softly. "You know, my son used to love these. Said they were little pieces of heaven you could hold for a second." Clara looked up at him, smiling now, silent but peaceful. What Sam didn't know was that someone was watching. Behind a glass divider, a woman in a sleek black dress stood frozen. Evelyn Rhodes, billionaire, CEO of Crestfall and mother of Clara, had arrived unexpectedly for a meeting with her foundation staff. She hadn't expected to see her daughter crying, and she hadn't expected this. She watched the janitor, this man with gentle hands and weathered eyes, kneel on her expensive floor and do what her therapists and specialists couldn't. Her assistant whispered nervously, "Ma'am, should I call security?" "He's not—" "No," Evelyn said sharply. Her voice trembled. "Let him finish." As the bubbles floated through the golden light, Evelyn's guarded heart cracked just a little. For years, she'd built empires, fought boardrooms, silenced emotions. But that simple act, the humility of it, tore something open inside her. She didn't know this man, but somehow she felt like she should. After the session, Sam packed up quietly, unaware he'd been observed. But as he stepped into the hallway, a voice stopped him. "Excuse me," said Evelyn, stepping forward. Sam straightened up immediately, nervous. "Oh, ma'am. Sorry, I was just—" "Did anyone tell you you could interact with my daughter?" she asked, her tone sharp but shaking slightly. Sam's eyes fell. "No, ma'am. She was crying. I didn't mean no harm. I seen her struggling, and I thought maybe—" "You thought maybe what?" Evelyn snapped, though her voice faltered. "You're a janitor, not a therapist." He nodded, swallowing his pride. "Yes, ma'am. I know my place." That line, so soft, so broken, hit her harder than she expected. He turned to leave quietly. Evelyn stood still, conflicted, her face unreadable. Her assistant whispered, "Should I report him?" She hesitated. "No, not yet." That night, Evelyn couldn't focus on her work. The image of her daughter's smile haunted her. Those bubbles, that calm, that connection. So the next morning, she went to the company cafeteria to find him. Sam was sitting alone, eating from a brown lunch bag, a simple peanut butter sandwich, a banana, and a thermos. Evelyn approached quietly, out of place in her designer heels among janitorial staff. "Mr. Porter?" she asked. He stood quickly, nearly spilling his drink. "Yes, ma'am." "I didn't mean to." "Sit," she interrupted. He hesitated, then obeyed. "I watched you with Clara yesterday," she said. "You calmed her down." "No one's ever done that." Sam nodded slowly. "I didn't do much, ma'am. Just gave her something to look at besides her pain." Her voice softened. "You have children?" "Had one," he said. "My boy, Marcus. He was autistic, too. Passed away when he was 12, Evelyn's expression broke. I'm sorry," he smiled faintly. "Don't be. He taught me how to see the world different, like every moment could be a miracle, if you just slowed down enough to notice." For the first time, Evelyn Rhodes, the billionaire who owned half the skyline, felt small. A week later, Evelyn sat in a board meeting with a dozen men in suits, discussing profits, mergers, and expansion. But her mind was elsewhere. Every chart and number looked hollow. Through the glass wall, she saw Sam mopping floors, humming softly, smiling as he worked. That's when she made a decision. She interrupted the CFO mid-sentence. "Gentlemen," she said, standing, "we're missing something important here." They stared, confused. "Our foundation isn't about image. It's about impact." She looked toward the window. "And I just met someone who reminded me what humanity looks like." Later that day, Sam received a message. "Report to the 60th floor conference room at 2 p.m. He thought it was a mistake. When he entered, every executive was seated, including Evelyn. Cameras, lights, a media crew. "Mr. Samuel Porter," Evelyn announced, smiling warmly, "you reminded me, and this company, that empathy is the highest form of intelligence." She turned to the cameras. "So from today, Crestfall is launching the Marcus Initiative, named after Samuel's late son, to train staff in emotional awareness and support programs for children with autism." Gas filled the room. Sam froze. Evelyn looked at him. "And we'd like you to be our ambassador." "Ma'am, I'm no ambassador," he stammered. "Yes, you are," she said. "You just didn't know it yet." Tears glistened in his eyes. Weeks later, Sam visited the therapy room again. Clara ran to him, this time not crying, but laughing. He blew bubbles again, the light catching on her hair, and Evelyn watched from the doorway. Not as a CEO this time, but as a mother. "Can I try?" she asked, stepping forward. Sam smiled and handed her the wand. "Go ahead, ma'am." Evelyn blew gently. The bubbles rose and shimmered. Clara clapped, chasing them. For the first time in years, Evelyn laughed, really laughed, and Sam quietly looked upward. "You see that, Marcus?" he whispered. "Told you them bubbles could change the world." As the sun set through the glass tower, the marble floors reflected soft colors of gold and blue. The janitor and the billionaire stood side by side, their reflections merging on the floor. Different worlds, same heart. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness, blowing a single bubble, can burst the walls between us. Empathy doesn't require wealth, title, or education. It just requires the courage to see another person's pain and the grace to do something about it.